All right. Well, welcome, ladies, to Crush It. I'm so glad that you guys decided to join us. We are just so warmed heart that you guys are here to be with us and to just join our table and to hear our hearts behind this. And we are just thrilled. Every time I get on here and I look at all of you, I just see purpose. I see destiny. I see God's plan for all of us. I was just worshiping this morning with the Lord, and I just felt this excitement, that the Lord is birthing things. He designed us, He prepared us for such a time as this, and He wants to use us in the earth with destiny and purpose. And I just love that you guys decided to see what we were sharing. I know that the Lord led you here because He's Jehovah Sneaky. He always is like, stirring up those things, that favor, that desire in our heart, that connection online with all of you to see what it is. The Lord is drawing you to this message. The Lord is drawing you to this group of beautiful women and sharing our hearts and just loving and creating this community that we are birthing here today. So I'm just super excited that you guys are with us. And I just thank you. I just want to say thank you for trusting me because put this link out there. I shared my heart about it all and that you said yes and that you joined us. So thank you from the bottom of my heart that you guys are all here because this means so much to me that we get to share this information and that I get to share my coach with you. I love her. Dr. Angela, she has been a mentor and a coach for about a year and a half now. And it is just she's just beautiful. I can't wait for you guys all to get to know her. What she carries is such breakthrough and transformation. Gives her guts. And I love that about her because I'm a guts giver too. And I think we all come together where we're like, let's give it all. And then Angela's like, but you got to take care of yourself. And it's like, strong women need strong support systems. And so she came at the perfect time because I'm a boss, homeschooler. I do all the things, right? And so we need that community of people that believe in us, that stand with us, that help us, crush it every day, but then can be there to support us when we fall. And so Angela has been that for me. And she's been an answer to prayer. And, as a leader and as a mother and a mentor, it's just I've been looking for that extra support and she came at the perfect time. And so now I get to share with all of you and see what God is going to do with this movement. I know that all of us are created for movement in the earth. And so I'm just excited that I get to share. And so I just, again, welcome you guys all. And Angela, Dr. Angela, you can take it over. Oh, I do want to pray. I forgot to pray. So,
Yeah,
Lord,
go ahead. Sure.
thank
Yeah,
you.
go for it.
We just thank you for these beautiful, treasured women that I see in front of us, these jewels, these priceless people, Lord. I just thank you for them. I thank you that you're going to do a mighty work today. I thank you, God, that you're going to bring breakthrough and transformation. Lord, I pray those that are feeling crushed, that you would bring hope, that you would lift their chin up. So that they can see that their help comes from you. And those that are crushing it and just need an extra push, I pray that there is a wind behind their sails. I pray that you push them forward to continue to be those that can crush it in life, God. And I just thank you, Lord, that you're releasing and unlocking destiny and purpose, that you're trailblazing ahead of them, signs for them to see clearly, to keep going forward. So I just ask for a movement of pushing, God, Lord, that you just bring angels alongside of them to help them and minister to them, encourage them, bring hope, Lord, lighten their loads, Lord. And I just thank you, God, that all these women are going to change and feel a shift from just this workshop in Jesus' name. Amen and amen.
And thank you. Thank you, Amber. That was so beautiful.
Mhm.
Well, I want to say welcome and just make sure, you can see my screen. Amber, can you see the screen now? Okay. All right. Well, I'm so excited to have you here at our Crush It, the workshop. And we're going to talk today about, we're going to talk about a couple different things, but I want to give you some strategies to help you unleash your purpose and make your mark on the world, even if you've been crushed. And this really, you know, I always like to say, like, I didn't go on the internet and find this somewhere. Like, this is coming from my own life's journey. And I knew that I was called to crush it, but I had been crushed along the way. And so for me, I really had to learn how to get up and get out of my own way. And so I am hoping that after today that, oops, that you will feel the same way, that you will feel inspired to crush it in life more than you ever have before. But that you'll just be ready to get up and get out of your own way. And not only that, but you're gonna know what that means. And so, but before we go any further, I want you to know this is a monumental day. This day is going to go down in history, because not only am I birthing something new, a new season, but God has brought me an amazing young woman who you all know and love, in Amber. And so I've been a life coach for women, and a mentor for about 30 years. And I started a mentorship program years ago, and I took 12 women and mentored them for 1 year. And then they all went out and they uh, started their own groups. They found 12 women and they mentored those women. And then we did a big graduation, and then those women went out and found 12 women. And so it was kind of like, I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember like the old Breck commercial. And I told two people, and I told two people. And so all of a sudden it starts multiplying. And so I have, great, great, great granddaughters in the Lord, who have been trained and developed to crush it in life, even if they've been crushed. And so before we go any further, I want to do something very special. And I want to welcome Amber to the team, Amber Atwood. I want to welcome her to my team, and she is the very first Monarch mentor. So the name of my company is called Monarch University Coaching. So yes, give it up for Amber. So I have decided, and I know that I have been led to now bring on other women who want to be mentors. And so she is my very first Monarch mentor. We are birthing this new thing together. And she said that, she felt stuck and isolated and trapped in a cycle of confusion and fear. And it kept her from connecting with others and stepping into her true potential. But mentorship is what really unlocked that tower of solitude and empowered her to face who she was meant to be. And so I have been spending the last months really training Amber and helping her to hone her skills as a mentor. And so, as of today, Amber, I want to give you the certificate of completion for completing what I call the Coronation Monarch Mentorship Training in Monarch University Coaching. You are now a certified Monarch mentor. So let's give it up for Amber. Way to go. So Amber, I will sign this and date it, and I'll mail it you a hard copy so that you have it and you can hang it on your wall. So I'm very, very excited about this new season. And a lot of you are on here today as a result of Amber's invitation. So, um, today, we're going to talk about how to crush it in life. And so, what does it mean to crush it in life? Sometimes we hear phrases and we don't really think about what it means, but it actually means, it's the idea of achieving success or performing exceptionally well. And so one of my favorite Bible verses is John 17:4. It's in the Message. It says, I glorified you on earth by completing down to the last detail what you assigned me to do. This really sums up my why. This sums up what drives me. And why I feel compelled to get up every day and to get out of my own way is to make sure that I have fulfilled my assignment. And so, I believe that because you're here today, that you also feel that call to really not just survive life, but to really thrive in life, get off the hamster wheel of the mundane madness of everyday life, and to really start to thrive and to achieve success and perform exceptionally well at life. And so I know that's why you're here today. So, but there's a story about Michelangelo. It's one of my favorite stories, but Michelangelo, he sculpted the bust of David, and people were so amazed, and they said, "Oh my gosh, how were you able to, accomplish such a great thing and get such an incredible likeness?" And he said, "Well, I did not sculpt him." He said, "He was already in the stone. I just let him out." And so I really believe that in each and every one of us, who you're meant to be is inside of you. We just have to be willing to let her out. And so that's what today's going to do. We're going to start to find her and to let her out. So there's a few things that you can expect today. And I'm going to talk about 3 things that you are going to need to really crush it in life, even if you've been crushed. And I'll tell you a little bit of my story about um, how I was crushed and have been able to crush it in life, no matter what. But there's a few things that I'm going to talk to you about. I want to address some things that I know that if you don't do anything else going forward, that I really hope that today will be life-changing and will really help you think about your life at a whole new level. And so I want to talk about confidence. I want to talk about self-esteem. I want to talk about purpose, and I want to talk about identity today. So, but first I want to make sure I'm talking to the right people, because I have a feeling that some of you might have felt the same way. Wave at me if you have ever felt like Adonis, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Anybody ever felt that way? Wait, yeah, I got some people waving at me. I know. Yep. Now here's the problem is that you look good doing it. And you make it look like it's not a big deal. And so that's the problem, because, if I'm talking to the right person here, you're high achieving, you're a go-getter, you're an action taker. But the problem is that to the outside world, you look like Superwoman. You're the go-to fixer. You're the strong one. You look like you have it all together. You probably volunteer, you serve, you give. So anybody, am I hitting the mark? Anybody else feel that way? Okay. But, you take care of everyone else, but who takes care of you? So now, you might think like, how does she know? Like, that's how I feel, because that was me. I this is exactly how I felt. I was a leader in our organization, and I was constantly giving and giving, and what some could say living their best life, but I just still felt this sense of unfulfillment. And so, when you're like this, you lay your head on the pillow at night, and you get a bad case of what I call the uns and the overs. You get a bad case of, you're unsure of your purpose, unclear of your message, so you feel unfulfilled. And then you're so exhausted, you end up feeling emotionally unavailable. Maybe you feel unappreciated, unrecognized, unheard, and you're living unintentional, and then you end up feeling misunderstood. And because I know you, even though a lot of us have never met, you're probably over serving. Here's the overs: you overserve, you overgive, you over deliver, you overcompensate, and then you end up overwhelmed. So is anybody feeling that right there? I know, like, I feel like when I read this, I feel like I have like swords hanging out of my head, like, oh yeah, like that's totally me. And so, the thing is that I know that you're a giver. I know that you probably love to serve people. You're good at taking care of people. You're the fixer. You're the go-to person, all that. And you're not going to stop giving. I know that about you. So I'm not here to tell you to stop giving today. I'm here to tell you that it is possible for you to give and serve at your highest level without feeling like you're pouring from an empty cup. And so that's what I want to give you the tools to do today. Because when you feel exhausted from all the uns and the overs, then you're not effective. And then that's what leads to that sense of unfulfillment. And so I want you to know today that I really do see you. I understand you, and you are meant for more. It is possible for you to live at your highest, live out your highest purpose, even fulfill your highest potential with passion, without feeling drained and depleted, pouring from an empty cup. It is possible. There's some things you have to learn to do in the meantime, but a lot of times I think we think it's not even possible. But I just want you to know today it's possible. And so, as I've worked with women over the last 30 years or so, I've learned that women are motivated by fear. We're afraid of failure. We're afraid of success. We're afraid of the future. We're afraid of repeating the past, afraid of judgment, afraid of what others might think, afraid of letting others down, afraid of being hurt again, afraid of seeing our kids suffer. Sometimes we're afraid of letting our light shine and showing up powerfully. And sometimes we're afraid of being too quiet. If we're too quiet, we're not going to be heard. And then, we'll just be put on the back burner. But here's what I'm looking for today. I'm looking for a group of women. Did I hit record, Amber? I don't know. I did. Okay. Sorry. It just hit me. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm looking for a group of women who are more afraid of staying the same. And I think that is really the difference right there. I think that it's a realization that I came to, that I realized that I was more afraid of staying the same than I was of failing. And it did shift. Something shifted inside of me. And when it did shift inside of me, then that's when my life started to turn around for the good. So I'm going to, I'll just tell you a little bit of my story. But if we haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Angela Aja. I knew that I had a call in my life since I was in the 3rd grade, and I stayed true to that call. I was a leader in my youth group. I ended up going to Bible college, and I had told the Lord that I don't even ever have to get married. Like, I just want to, I just want to give and serve and take care, just live out my call. Well, I met a fiery young preacher. And so that kind of changed things. We got married. We started a church. I was 21, he was 23, and we had thriving ministry for 23 years, sorry, 25 years. And I thought I was living my best life. I was, mentoring women. We were doing inner city work and got awards from the city for helping bring crime down. I thought I was living my best life. And after 25 years of marriage in the ministry, my life got turned upside down. And I went from the first lady of the church to a divorced single mom. And when I tell you my world came crashing down, my world came crashing down. I went from living in a beautiful ranch to sleeping on the floor of an apartment. I went from speaking in the pulpit to selling windows door to door just to make ends meet. I went from wearing a Rolex with diamonds to standing in the food stamp line. Now, you don't have to go through that dramatic of your world being turned upside down in order for you to live with purpose, but this is my journey and the journey that I went on. And because of that, my world being turned upside down, I realized that God gave me this revelation of the caterpillar going to a butterfly, and I realized that when your life gets turned upside down, you're perfectly positioned for transformation. Not only that, but a lot of times we assume that, and we're taught that the caterpillar turns into the butterfly, but it's not true. The DNA of the butterfly is trapped inside of the caterpillar. And when she goes into that cocoon, enzymes are released that liquefy her into liquid goo. And so just like that caterpillar, the DNA of your purpose is inside of you. But you have to be willing to let go of the woman you become to become the woman that you were created to be. So, we have to go through a process of letting go of the woman that was created by fears, failures, and imperfections. Because that woman is like the caterpillar version of us. And so we want to, we have to go through a process and endure those cocoon seasons of life so that we can, the caterpillar residue can be removed from us and we can, grow our wings, bust out of our cocoon and really soar in life. But here's what most people don't know about me is that this little girl right here, she was just an ordinary girl, but she had no idea who she was, why she was here, what she was here to do. And because of that, she became the woman she was supposed to be. And she morphed into this false version of who God had created her to be. And so, but along the way, I endured the process of the cocoon. I said yes to enduring that season of development. And I went from living my best life, feeling like I had reached the pinnacle of success to becoming a broke single mom, falling into the depths of despair. And then I broke out of my cocoon and I became a homeschooling, rockin' business owner, confident single grandma who's making a massive impact using my story. So, along the way, I went from being the victim in my own story, to becoming a best-selling author and speaking my message from stages to help other women find their voice, tell their story. And then I also help women write their books. But I wrote this book and it's called Summoned to Soar, the 5 Stages of the Rise of a Woman. And we're going to give you an opportunity at the end to sign up for, I turned this book into a Bible study called The Emerging Woman. But I realized that there were 5 stages that a caterpillar goes through to become a butterfly. And it's the same stages that we have to go through without getting stuck in one stage or the other in order to make our greatest impact in the world. And guess what? Guess who else went through these same stages? Queen Esther. And I show that in the book. So, stage one in the book is called the ordinary, and that's like the caterpillar. And then we go into that cave season. And that's like we're going into the cocoon. And inside the cocoon, we are becoming. So there has to be this unbecoming, and then we get to go through the becoming. And then the debut is where the butterfly breaks out of the cocoon, makes her debut, and then the rise is where she begins to use her wings. And so it is too easy for us as women to, get to one stage or the other and then settle for where we're at. And that's really my clarion call for you, is to think about today, where are you at? And then not to get stuck there. And so what's next for you? So let's see here. Just a couple of things. I'll tell you a few things that I learned along the way, and then I just want to hear from you. I want to open up. And before I give you the 3 points, and I want to just hear, so what are your takeaways so far? So just a few takeaways from my story is that I did not realize that, I remember my life. I used to sit in service and a testimony night, and I would hear, these people telling their testimonies. They got out of prison, they walked to church, they changed their life, blah, blah, blah. And I would cry and tell God, like, I have such a boring testimony. Can I tell you, do not tell God that you have a boring testimony, okay? Don't do it. Take it from me, because he might give you one that's a little more exciting. But I didn't realize that I was being summoned to soar. And so here's what I want you to know is that, number one, the DNA of your purpose is inside of you. You have to be willing to let go of the woman you become to become the woman you were created to be. There's a process that you must go through. Staying the same is no longer an option. If you feel that, I want you to type it in the chat as a declaration. Don't do it for me, but as a declaration. Staying the same is no longer an option. And then number one, you're called, like, what's the purpose? Let's say you become this beautiful butterfly, you endure the cocoon, but then you never break out. What's the point of going through all this development and then staying trapped in the cocoon? So you're called to live outside of the cocoon. You're really meant to soar. And I think there's a verse, Amos 9:13, that it sums up, like, this is what soaring is to me. And so all these things are here. This is how you crush it in life, is by not getting stuck along the way in one stage or the other. And I have ways that, number one, I'm going to give you today to help you. And then if you want to go further and do more work, I have ways to help you go the whole distance. So just before I go on, I just want to have you unmute for a minute, and I just want to just hear from you. What are you taking away from this? What's the 1 or 2 points that are sticking out for you, Rosalie?
Well, that staying the same is no longer an option.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. I see those coming in the chat. That is so exciting, man. That is just gets me fired up. Staying the same is no longer an option, because I think we buy the lie that, well, this is just how it always has to be. Once you realize that's not true, then, like, life starts to open up for you. Jennifer.
First of all, I want to say thank you. And I'm so proud of Amber. I adore her. Her in-laws have been my spiritual parents since I was maybe like 9, and I'm gonna be 54 next week, my birthday. And super happy to have my daughter-in-law here from North Carolina. And
Awesome.
we've both been crushed because I lost my 26-year-old son less than 2 months ago. Her
Oh,
strange husband, we found him dead in his sleep, but he had his Bible by his side and he had a heart attack. And we had 7 tornadoes at the time, remember, Amber? And we lost our power. And my faith has been shaken. I just planned my mother's funeral, and I take care of my father, who is a blind Vietnam War vet. He lost his eyesight when he was 20, he ran over a landmine. But I never say I'm going to stand in awe. And I have a son with autism, as Amber knows. He's 29 and he has multiple health impairments. He's waiting for major surgery. And I have some serious online bullying going on. The world is a very unsafe, cruel place, but God is greater. And I will never stand in awe of my problems. I will always stand in awe of my God.
yeah.
I helped open an autism center in Lapeer, and my lifelong goal is to write a book. But when you kept saying DNA, I homeschooled and I read this book to my kids, and the DNA stood for divine notion awaiting.
Oh, I
And you
love
just sparked my heart, because I'm all about destiny, purpose, mission statements, because you blessed me already by sharing the message version. I have it highlighted, and that is powerful. One of the main scriptures I'm praying right now is, look away from all that distracts unto Jesus, my author and finisher of my faith,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's so easy to get off your path.
yeah,
And the new level, new devil, and the enemy's coming in from all sides. And it feels like we're not winning, but we fight from victory.
yeah,
And we live for such a time as this. And we should be fearless, because courage is fear that said its prayers. And I'm excited to be in the remnant, and to be a part of this women's movement is so needed. And the Japanese symbol for crisis is also opportunity. So
yeah, that's
your
right.
tragedies can be triumphs.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my blind father wrote a book, Blind Vision. I might have lost my sight, but not my vision. So thank you for being on my journey.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow, that is uh, that sounds like, I bet that's a really good book. That's
Well, I'm
incredible.
getting
Thank
your
you for
book.
sharing. Good, good. That's awesome. Well, will definitely, I will be praying for you and your journey.
Thank you.
And I hope that, the things that I share today will be helpful as well. And so anybody else before I go on? Just share a takeaway.
I mean, I'll share if nobody else
Yeah,
does.
yeah, go ahead.
I've been tapping, typing away in the chat, but it's the unbecoming, those projections, those thoughts, even from childhood, those memories. We don't have to be like that. So we have to unbecome everything we thought, that we were told, that we even made ourselves. Like, we have to just undo it all to make sure that we are in line with what God calls us to do. Because we
Mhm.
can make a whole bunch of stuff happen. We're workers. I can do all the things. But
Mhm.
God, and is it right? And is it what I've become and made myself be, or is it who God has told us that we need to be? And so that's been this journey of unbecoming, I think, has been me, because I know I'm called to do great things, and I've made a lot of things happen. Because that's just how I'm wired. I'm a doer, I'm a worker, I'm a busy bee. I can do all the things. But is it God? Is it what I'm supposed to do? And I'm so grateful that I just surrendered it all at the altar, laid my whole life down again and again and again and again, because he keeps showing me to unbecome more. And
Yeah,
and he's allowed us to pick up these things, and this is a part of it. And so it's just
yeah,
beautiful because you say, Lord, I surrender of unbecoming so I can become the queen that you've called me to be. that's our life, mantra. We have to unbecome. So
Yeah, well, this isn't in my notes, but I want to say this real quickly. I want you to know what does it mean to unbecome? And because sometimes we hear things and it sounds good, but like, what does that even mean? So I want to break it down real quick. And this is how, like, your brains were designed for faith. Your brains were designed for abundance. Your brains were designed for breakthrough. So interestingly enough, one of the ways that our brain works is that, have you ever heard of anybody say, there's pathways in you got to change the pathways in your brain? Well, so I want you to picture a neighborhood, and then right next to the neighborhood is this green grassy field. And then on the other side of the grassy field is a park. And so I want you to picture this neighborhood of kids, and it's the last day of school. Now, there's this beautiful green grassy field in between the neighborhood and the park. And so those kids get on their bikes and they ride their bikes across the field to the park. What do you think happens to the grass?
It's wore down.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of bends down, kind of makes a little mark, right? You can kind of see where they rode their bikes. So that was one time. Okay, now I want you to imagine if they rode their bike over that same path to get to the park every day of the summer, what do you think that grass is going to look like by the end of the summer? There's no grass. A
gonna be like
path,
ruts.
yeah, a
Yep.
path has been created. Okay. That is exactly how our brains work. Something happens to you. Now, this could be something in childhood. It could be something in early adulthood. It could be something that happened 2 months ago, or, and so, something, it could be surviving being the middle child. It could be surviving divorce. It could be surviving being bullied. It could be anything. But what happens is you have an experience, you get up to the edge of that experience, and you think a thought. So let's say you're a little girl and something happens, and the thought that you have is that I need to um, I need to shrink so I don't make others feel bad. Okay. And so you think that thought, and then it works for you. And so then as you grow up, because that thought worked, you think it over and over again. And pretty soon you think it so many times, it creates a pathway. And so that's how we get those thoughts. And so that's what we mean by unbecoming. The way that we have the unbecoming, we assume. Well, think about there's this whole grassy field on this side and this side, but we assume because we've thought that one thought so many times, that's the only thought we have available to us. And so in mentoring and coaching, what we do is we explore all the other possibilities. Like instead of I need to shrink back. Like, what if you chose the thought, I'm a powerful chooser? I can show up powerfully in my life. So you get to try that thought on. And the more you stay off of this old path that begins to fill in, the more you take this new path that begins to create a new pathway that becomes your go-to, because we follow the path of least resistance. And so that's the way that your brain works. And when we talk about unbecoming and becoming, it's like unbecoming those thoughts that I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. You'll see this in a minute, but those thoughts become our identity. All right. So put a pin in that. I'm going to get to that in a minute. So here's the first thing I want to say. Number one, self-esteem and confidence are not the same thing. I think we have some assumptions when we think about confidence and self-esteem. And I know these are some assumptions that I've had, and that some of the women that I've worked with have had. Number one, that only women with low self-esteem need to work on their self-esteem. That's a false assumption. And I'll explain why in a minute. I think sometimes we assume that confidence will come when you do something or have something. That's a myth. Once you have a healthy self-esteem and confidence, you're always going to have it. That's not true. We'll talk about that in a minute. Confidence and self-esteem are based on what other people think. Not true. And then having a high self-esteem and high confidence, it's self-centered. And that's not true. So we'll break this down in a minute here. But I think those are some false assumptions that we have. So, but the truth is that here's what self-esteem is. Self-esteem is self-respect and dignity. Self-esteem is how you judge yourself, your own self-worth and your value. So it has nothing to do with what anybody thinks of you. But what happens, we become conditioned to worry more about what other people think about us, and then we let their opinions become our identity. Self-esteem is underpinned by your self-belief. So you will only have the level of self-esteem that you have your self-esteem will only be at the level of your self-belief. And so God did not put you on a conveyor belt and stamp your head with this one's not capable. Right? Bible says you can do all things through Christ. So, but we're taught, especially in any kind of religious upbringing, that you need to you shouldn't believe in yourself because that's not godly. But here's the thing is, God believes in you so much that like he knows the number of hairs on your head. But sometimes we don't even know what we like or what color we like or what smells we like because we've been so busy liking what everybody else likes, right? So self-esteem is the foundation for your confidence. So they're really two separate things. And then you will need to up-level your self-esteem and your confidence on the onset of every new season. So here we go back to staying the same. Your self-esteem and confidence should never be at the same level. My self-esteem is not where it was last year. It's in a whole different place. That's because I have decided that staying the same is not an option for me. Now, confidence is it's not what you do. Confidence is who you are at your core. It's your why. And so it's who you've always been. You don't lack confidence. You just need to activate it and access this because the confidence, the Bible says you have everything you need that pertains to life and godliness. And that one version, it says you have everything you need for a dynamic spiritual life. And so, but what happens is that our confidence gets buried underneath all this old conditioning of, other people's opinions. You're not good enough. You didn't accomplish that. You're a failure, blah, blah, blah. Right. So we just need to have a strategy to unearth it and to bring it up because it's already inside of you. And then confidence is unlocked when you go after your impossible. So this is, again, one of my favorite stories, and you may have heard of Amelia Earhart, but she was she was the first woman to cross the transatlantic flying solo. And it was in a man's world, but she did it. And so when she did it, they said, "Oh my gosh, how did you accomplish this?" And she said, "Well, I did know what I was doing, but really it was my confidence that allowed me to get it done." And they said, "Well, what is confidence to you?" And she said, "Confidence is the willingness to go after your impossible." So confidence is inside of you. And the more you focus on going after your impossible or your purpose, it begins to be unearthed and stirred up and come out of you. instead of you having to go get it. Like, it's not outside of you, right? And so it's a mind shift there.
I just want to remind you about your slides because you're not screen sharing.
Oh, oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you for
You're
telling
welcome.
me that.
That's okay.
Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna show you. There we go. There's Amelia Earhart. There she is. Okay, there's the self-esteem and confidence in case you want to screenshot that real quick. I will send the replay to your email, but sometimes I like to screenshot these things so I have it. Okay, so there's good old Amelia Earhart. Confidence is the willingness to go after your impossible. So here's the second thing. Chronic busyness is not proof of your purpose. It's actually an avoidance of it. So a lot of times, somebody was saying earlier about being distracted. We get distracted by taking care of everyone else, helping out everyone else fulfill their purpose, which is not a bad thing, but we can't completely put ourselves on the back burner. We have to be able to do both at the same time. In fact, the second greatest commandment says, love your neighbor as yourself. And so we're taught, not to, self-love is not that important or selfish, but you can only love your neighbor to the degree that you love yourself. And the way you love yourself is by self-respect, dignity, knowing yourself, going after your purpose. And so, but when you're so busy focusing on everyone else and you're neglecting your own heart, then it's an avoidance of your purpose. So a few facts about purpose: only 6% of women know what their purpose is. So 94% have no clue. And only 1% of women know what they really desire. And my coach said to me one time, she said, you might want to write this down and journal about it. She said, I don't want you to go after what you want. I want to know, what do you really, 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 really want? And when you start digging into that and giving yourself permission to want what you really, 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 really want, you'll stop avoiding that. And so here's a couple myths about purpose. Number one, your purpose is what you do. Your purpose is not what you do. It's who you are at your core. It's your why. It's who you've always been. Your purpose is not extravagant. It's very simple, and you probably live your purpose every day, but you just don't know it. And so you don't feel fulfilled because you don't realize how purposeful you actually are. Another myth about purpose is that you don't have to wait until you have more time to live with purpose. So when you unearth your purpose and you know what it is, then you can be intentional about it. And this brings instant fulfillment. So your purpose is your why, it's your reason, it's who you've always been. And then your why is more important than your what. And so I'm a grandma, I have 6 grandkids, and if I was walking down the street and all of a sudden I just shoved my grandkids to the ground, am I a good grandma or a bad grandma?
Depends on the purpose.
It
Depends on the purpose. Exactly. If there's an out of control car, I'm a great grandma. If I did it for no reason, I'm probably not a good grandma. So your why, your purpose, why you're doing something is more important than what you're doing. One of the things I talk about in coaching and we talk about in mentorship is that the difference between being a human being versus a human doing. And so when you are doing things to prove who you are, then that's when it leads to striving. But when you get to know who you are, why you're here, what you're here to do, you do things because of who you are, then you don't need outside forces to validate you or to make you feel like you're accepted or that what you're doing is enough. So I want you to do this, write this down, and I just want you to think about tonight. I want you to journal, like, what is my why? What drives me? And just think about that. And because that's going to lead to your purpose. And so here's Corey. She was busy doing great things. She volunteered, she taught Bible study, but she still felt lost. And then it really was just not until she discovered her purpose that, she found her focus, and now she's pursuing her passions. So I really believe that living in hot pursuit of your purpose is the missing piece of the puzzle for fulfillment. So, 5 steps to fulfilling your purpose is to access it, articulate it, anchor it in, align with it, and amplify it. And this is all the things that we do in the mentorship and the coaching. So, Sylvia, she believed that she could do anything as a child, but then life came along and rocked her those beliefs at her core. And when she found her purpose, that's when she was able to really reconnect to her feelings of, feeling good about herself and her greatness, and not apologizing. And so the last point here is that your identity has nothing to do with what you've been through. So I want to talk about identity real quick. Here's Vernita. She also has been through the program. She's an amazing woman. She's a mentor to women as well. And she was in her 60s when she went through this process with me. And she thought her life, she thought it was too late. And I love her story because she said, you know what, it's not too late for me. And just all of a sudden life started opening up for her. So we are getting close to coming to a close, but I want you to, I want to just take you through a quick assessment, and you might have to finish this later tonight. I want you to really think about this, but I want you to draw a circle. Okay. You're going to draw like 8 pieces of pie, and I'll show you a picture in a minute. Let's see if I can get to it here. Here we go. So you're going to draw a circle, and in one piece of pie, you're going to put emotional well-being, financial well-being, mental well-being. How well do you know your mission, vision, and purpose? How confident do you feel? How, your relationships, your physical well-being, your spiritual well-being. Then you're going to rate each piece of the pie from 0 to 10. 0 is it's at a 0. Like I don't feel fulfilled in my spiritual well-being, or I feel 10 as fulfilled in my spiritual well-being, and so on. So I want you to, put a number in each piece of the pie. And then let's say you gave your spiritual well-being a 5. You're going to draw a line from side to side within the pie of where a 5 would be. So you'd have a line in the middle of 0 to 10 of where that is. So I want to give you just a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish, and then because I said I will keep you here for an hour, which we're almost at. Amber, I think we're going to have to do these 90 minutes so we have more time. But I'll finish the master class here, but then I'm going to stay on as long as you want me to. And if you want to go over your wheel of well-being, we can go over that together. So when you take just 60 seconds here and put a number inside of each piece of the pie of where do you feel your well-being is in each piece of the pie? Okay, and then I will stay on at the end and we can go over these together if you want to. So I just want to ask you something. What if you gave yourself permission to live with purpose and intention? What if you had a surefire way to create strong, invisible boundaries that didn't become walls and you didn't have to feel guilty for enforcing them? What if you could feel powerful and confident even in the midst of uncertainty? What if you knew how to rejection proof your relationships? What if you had confidence to fail fiercely without feeling like a failure? What if you could make powerful decisions without second guessing yourself? What if you could serve others at your highest level without neglecting your own well-being? What if you could make yourself a priority without feeling selfish? What if you could be more successful without burning yourself out or buckling under the pressure? What if you were able to keep serving the ones that you love at your highest level and give from a place of abundance without feeling drained and depleted? What if you had extreme clarity about what you wanted out of life and you dared to go after it without needing the approval of others? Mind blown, right? What if you had an on-demand mentor who could hold you accountable to the dreams and desires of your heart whenever you felt stuck before sabotage was able to stop you dead in your tracks? You can. And that's why we do what we do. So here's 3 things that you absolutely need. You need to get clarity about who you are, why you're here, and how you want to show up in the next season of your life if you want to crush it. This is a non-negotiable. Number 2, you need to take fast and perfect action without waiting for approval, permission, or validation from other people. I always say that, when you give to other people, you invest in them, right? When you invest in other people, who gets the ROI, the return on investment? Anybody?
Yourself.
You invest in them, and you do get an investment, right? Because you're giving, right? And it always comes back to you. But when you invest in other people, they get the
They
ROI.
do. Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. And so, in fact, their ROIs, like how many times have you given to your kids? You set your kids up for success and they're super successful. So the point is, your ROI, your investments work. The problem is not your investments, the problem is where you're investing. And so as we had taken opportunity to not only invest in those people around us, but invest in ourselves, like you get some of that ROI. And so this is where, really deciding to take fast and perfect action without waiting for approval, permission, or validation. And then making sure that you have accountability, because information alone does not cause transformation. I believe it's accountability and the partnership that really causes the transformation. And I would not be where I am today without having people, because you can't see your own back, right? So we need people that can see our own back. They can see things from another perspective that we couldn't see. So you need to solidify your self-esteem, supersize your confidence, script your purpose, show up powerfully, and soar into a purposeful life. And so this is really how you crush it in life. I just want to introduce to you very quickly what we're launching today. As a life coach, I have been doing on the left side here, the Crown with Purpose. for many, many years. I've helped thousands of women find their purpose. And so I'm continuing to do that. And I have, because this is private coaching, I have 4 spots open right now. So what we do is we go through a process of identifying your self-limiting beliefs. And then we also go through a process of scripting a mission, vision, purpose, potential, and passion statement. And we identify your intrinsic core values. And then you rewrite your story from a powerful perspective. And so, but what we're introducing also today is a new mentorship program called Womanhood by Design. Some of you have already decided to jump in. I'm very excited for you. And so the life coaching is 12 weeks. The mentorship program is 12 months. I have a passion to dwell with women, and Amber has that same passion. And so she is going to be doing the mentorship program, where you will show up once a week with a group of women. We're going to do it in groups of 12. So we only have 12 spots available. And I think she's got 6 filled right now. And so this is going to be, we're going to start, we launch in September. The life coaching, we can start anytime because that's private coaching with me. The mentorship starts in September. And so we're filling that first cohort of 12 women who want to spend the year together. You want to go beyond just kind of a, you really want to build relationship with other women. And so that's what we're launching today. In the 12 weeks, you're going to do, like I said, the renewing your mind, an identity makeover. You're going to reinvent yourself, and then you're going to create momentum. In the 12 months, we're going to focus on your self-esteem, your confidence, your identity. And then we're going to fill it in with learning how to dream again, learning how to set goals, unleashing your personal power. So we've got the two programs. It comes with a community, insider access, exclusive events. I do a lot of events throughout the year. And also, so there'll be some hot seat coaching. And then I have a yearly conference, and you'll get to graduate at the conference. It comes with, a community and a sisterhood, confidence building curriculum, and then conversations. That's for the mentorship program. So I'm running through these really fast, but if you sign up for either one of these today, I've also got the Anatomy of an Entrepreneurial Esther book coming out. I've got, and so it also comes with guest coaches and trainers, and then the graduation, as I said. So what we're doing today, I'll wrap it up here, and then I'll stay on with you to go over your wheel of well-being. But what we're doing here today is, if you want to know more and you have questions and you want to talk about it, I want you just to take your phone and scan the Clarity Call, and we will get on the phone, and, I'll go over the details a little bit more, but I'm also going to help you get really clear about what it looks like for you to move forward. Whether we work together or not, I will help you come up with what I call your flight plan for soaring. But because we're launching in September for the mentorship program, we've only got 12 spots. And then also for the coaching, I've only got 4 spots. We wanted to give you an opportunity today. If you know this is for you, I want you to scan the other side, put your $97 deposit down, and that way you hold your spot. Now, you are not guaranteeing that you're going to, if you put your 97 down, you don't have to move forward with any of the programs, but you are guaranteeing your spot, because what you're going to do then, because we're waiting till September to launch, we're going to fill in that gap with a 6-week Bible study called The Emerging Woman. And if you pay the $97 today, You hold your spot in mentorship or coaching if you choose to move forward. You get access to the Bible study, and actually you get it's a VIP access, which comes with some more stuff. I'm gonna send you a signed copy of my book, Summoned to Soar, 5 Stages of the Rise of a Woman. So some of you said you're gonna get the book. If you pay the $97, you don't have to go get the book. I'll send you a signed copy of that book. And then you get an extra call with me, a private call with me. So clarity call if you have more questions, or if you know I'm ready for this, go ahead and get your $97 in to hold your spot, and then we will follow up with you. And we can talk about if coaching or mentorship, whichever one is right for you. Okay. So just to wrap up, your self-esteem and confidence are not the same thing. Chronic busyness is not proof of your purpose. It's an avoidance of it. And your identity is not what you've been through. So I hope that today has been a blessing to you. I will stay on as long as you want. Amber, do you have any comments as we wrap up? And then we'll open up the floor to talk about your wheel if you want to.
Yeah, I can't believe I can just continually learn from you. It's like hearing it all from the first time again. It's like you just rattle off so many new things all the time. It's just incredible. I have like pages of notes already just written down. So yeah, you said it, identity is not what you have been through. And I think that is it. That is just like the last final stamp of like that's like hitting our hearts and our souls, knowing that we can become and we can emerge out of all of the mess, all the trials, all the word curses, all the settling, all the dust, all the tracks that we keep running continually over and over again, that we have the power to choose and to change and make a new way. And so I'm just excited to be able to journey with all of you guys, and I'm ready. I'm pumped. I'm ready to come alongside of you guys and just let's do this. Let's change your destiny. Let's discover purpose. Let's make a plan, and let's see what God can do, because I'm excited. I'm so excited to come alongside of you. So yeah.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you all so much for being on. I am actually going to stop the recording, and I'll stay in as long as you want me to talk about your wheel. But I'll go ahead and stop the recording. So thank you all again for being on, and I will hopefully see you soon.